Welcome to Movie Speeching. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take good care. Black Knight is the name of the movie. Please like and subscribe to get every update. At an amusement park called Medieval World in Los Angeles, employee Jamal is sent to clean up the moat after arguing with his boss. He and his colleagues can't help but interrupt their duties to play swords, wishing they could work for Castle World, the over-the-top rival park that's about to open. Suddenly, Jamal noticed there was a gold medal in the ditch and guessed that it must be of great value. He reached into the water to retrieve it, but the medallion began to glow and pulled Jamal into the ditch. When he surfaced, he found himself in an unfamiliar lake and swam to shore to meet a drunk man named Nolt. Noticing the man's clothes and the area he was in, Jamal assumed he had accidentally arrived at Castle World. At this time, Nolt lost consciousness and Jamal checked on him and noticed that he was not breathing. His cries for help went unheard, so he prepared to give CPR, but Nolt's breath smelled so bad that Jamal chose to use breathing spray instead. This caused Nolt to immediately wake up and credit Jamal for saving his life. Nolt then takes Jamal back to his camp, but Jamal is disgusted with the living conditions and calls Nolt's food road killer. When Nolt explains that everyone hates him for disappointing the queen, Jamal does not take him seriously and gives him $2 before leaving, but Nolt instead throws the bills into the fire. Next, Jamal runs through the woods to find the highway, only to find himself on an old farm and nearly get run over by Sir Percival and his men on horseback. He got out of the way just in time and then tried to chase after the knights to call them, only to discover a giant fortress. Assuming it is Castle World, Jamal tries to enter but is stopped by guards who demand to know who he is. Jamal explains that he is from Florence and Normandy, referring to the famous Los Angeles intersection, but the guards mistake him for a messenger from a region called Normandy and let him pass, saying that the king is waiting for him. Once inside, Jamal sees a huge, smelly market and a puppet show about the legend of the Black Knight. He is then distracted when he sees Victoria, the princess's maid. Jamal tries to flirt with her, but she does not understand his modern slang, although when he asks for her paper and number, she is impressed that he can read and write. Soon, Percival arrives and touches all the women inappropriately, including Victoria. Jamal recognizes him as the one who almost ran him over and calls him out for harassing women, causing Percival to draw his sword and threaten. Jamal still thinks it's part of the act and doesn't take it seriously, but before things escalate, Chamberlain Philip arrives to take Jamal to the king. Jamal is then taken to the throne room, where he meets King Leon and Princess Regina. Leo wanted to know when the Duke of Normandy would come to marry Regina and thought he'd have to improvise for the scene. Jamal replied, Tuesday. Regina is not happy because it is an arranged marriage, but Leo is happy and promises to return to town after Jamal rests. Philip then takes Jamal on a tour of the castle and Jamal stops at the bathroom to use the bathroom. However, it was a medieval-style latrine and he found it disgusting so he couldn't do it. Suddenly, Jamal notices people rushing out and Philip explains that they will watch the execution of the leader of the rebellion. Thinking it would be a spectacle, Jamal joined the crowd and watched the execution, holding his head as it fell because he was so impressed with the realistic prop. However, he quickly realized it was a real head and he lost consciousness. Moments later, Jamal woke up in his room while Victoria took care of him. Jamal begins to panic because he witnessed an actual execution, and his mood worsens when Victoria says that it is the year 1328, meaning he must accept that he has traveled through time, and everything is true. Suddenly, Victoria started taking off her dress and Jamal thought they were about to get riotous, but she only took out her pendant to show him that it suited him. The medal is the symbol of the rebels, and Victoria wants Jamal to help her kill Leo because he murdered the previous king to steal the throne, but the kingdom should have belonged to the widowed queen. Any rebels who tried before were beheaded and their heads now lay outside. Jamal is scared to leave, but Philip suddenly arrives and tells him that his trip is ready. Apparently, the mount turns out to be a horse and not a car, and since Jamal doesn't know how to ride a horse, he tells everyone that he is a messenger but also a court jester to make a cover. Next, Jamal tried to ride the horse, but the animal did not make it easy for him. He released him several times and dragged him around the area, which made everyone laugh because they thought it was part of the action of a joker. Leo invites Jamal to ride with him, but Jamal's difficulties with the horse are relentless, which makes Leo think that he is very dedicated to his profession, which he respects. Later at the castle, Victoria tends to Jamal's wound, but he panics when he realizes he is being treated with leeches. After getting rid of them all, Jamal told Victoria that he had to go back to the lake where he found Nolt, which shocked Victoria because Nolt was thought to be dead. Their conversation is interrupted by Philippe, who informs Jamal that the king has invited him to tonight's banquet. Jamal doesn't want to go, but Victoria reminds reminds him of stabbed heads, and he quickly changes his mind. During the party, Jamal is disgusted with Leo's behavior and eating, but he has to pretend to like everything to avoid death. Then Leo invited him to dance because he had heard that the Normans were excellent dancers. Jamal tries some classical moves to medieval music, but he looks ridiculous, so instead he teaches the court musicians a modern tune he can sing and jump along. It's awkward at first, but then everyone understands and Jamal teaches them the moves to the song, dancing to the music so they can have fun together. While everyone was enjoying the music on the dance floor, Victoria gave bread to 2 servants. Just then the king was on the dance floor, and while he was distracted, Regina grabbed Jamal and kissed him. Percival sees them and threatens to kill Jamal for touching the princess, so Jamal runs out onto the balcony while Percival chases him. Meanwhile, 2 servants approached the king and revealed to him that the bread contained knives. When they were about to stab Leo, Jamal used the curtain to jump down from the balcony and accidentally kicked the king, preventing the 2 assassins from stabbing him. The guards immediately arrest the servants, after which Leo scolds Percival for not protecting him even though he considers Jamal a hero. In fact, Leo appointed Jamal as the lord responsible for his security, even rewarding him with 60 hectares of land and all the women he wanted. The next day, Jamal appeared in court with new ideas like frappuccinos and fast food with cute outfits for the employees. He then plays chess with Percival, who says that sometimes the queen must be sacrificed for the good of the kingdom, which is very suspicious. Jamal is then called for security reasons. A man was caught stealing turnips from the castle garden for his starving family. Leo asked him to execute the man and Jamal laughed until he realized he was serious. To maintain his cover, Jamal screams at the thief and takes him away to be killed, but once they are out of sight, he gives him a pile of coins and lets him go. In the evening, the king sends Victoria naked to Jamal's room as a reward for saving him. Jamal admitted he asked, but only so they could talk in private. He starts making noise, pretending like they are doing the dirty work while telling Victoria that he plans to leave the castle before the real messenger shows up. Victoria wants him to help the rebels now that he has more access to the king, but Jamal says he's not the right person for it. Victoria left the room frustrated, never wanting to talk to him again. Then the guards outside congratulate Jamal for being a great lover. That night, a woman comes into Jamal's room and gets into bed with him, so Jamal is ready to get mad at her thinking she is Victoria. The next morning, the real messenger from Normandy arrived and revealed the truth. Leo and Percival burst into Jamal's room and discovered that he was in bed with Regina. The messenger also sees this and informs Leo that the Duke will no longer be interested in marrying Regina because she is no longer a virgin. Jamal is immediately locked up to await execution in a dungeon, where he finds 2 assassin servants at the party. They tell Jamal that they are angry with him for ruining their assassination plot, but now they think Jamal is a genius for ruining Leo's deal with Normandy, which weakens the king. They also share the legend of the Black Knight, a great warrior who refused to sell his loyalty to kings because he devoted himself only to justice. A dragon once swallowed him whole, but he managed to escape from the beast's belly and gained the ability to breathe fire. Sometime later, Jamal was sent to be executed, so he pretended to be a great wizard in a desperate attempt to save his life. He tried to scare the crow with fire from the lighter, but no one was impressed because they already knew fire. As they placed Jamal's head on the cutting board, the executioner suddenly choked on an apple, leading the villagers to believe that Jamal had cast a killing curse on him. Playing along, Jamal performs the Heimlich maneuver on the executioner until he spits out the fruit, claiming that he saved him with magic. Everyone was terrified, so Jamal then declared that he could knock the sun out of the sky. Just then, a flaming arrow hit the king's tent and everyone panicked, but Percival denounced him for the lie and sent guards after him. A mysterious person outside continuously shoots flaming arrows and causes complete chaos, giving Victoria the opportunity to sneak in and put Jamal and the 2 assassins on a cart. Unfortunately, Jamal falls out of the carriage when the horse starts running and Percival orders the guard to close the gate, but Jamal knocks out the guard and escapes just in time. The castle defenders shoot arrows at him, but suddenly the mysterious archer arrives, Nolt himself, who mounts Jamal on his horse. The duo arrive at the rebel camp and Nolt informs Jamal that he has helped repay him for saving his life, so that he can now get out of debt. Victoria saw him and asked him to stay because he was the best knight in England, but Nolt still felt guilty for letting the previous king down and left. Jamal then asks Victoria to come with him to modern times, where women are treated better, but she refuses to leave her people. Jamal returned to the lake alone and hesitated to jump. Meanwhile, Nolt returned to his camp but was ambushed by Percival's men. They began harassing Nolt and threw his vase into a pile of dung, but as Nolt was about to pick it up, Jamal arrived to stop him. He then starts fighting the men using modern boxing techniques and some silly moves, knocking out 2 of them. However, the men quickly recovered and together overpowered Jamal to defeat him. Seeing a friend in distress, Nolt finally escaped and immediately defeated the the men, even burying one of them's face in the mud. After Jamal teaches Nolt how to high-five, they return to the rebel camp, only to discover that Percival's men have destroyed it and taken Victoria with them. Jamal asked the rebels to help save her, but only Nolt volunteered because everyone had lost hope in the cause. Suddenly, a woman spoke, the queen herself, who was happy to see Nolt alive and did not blame him for what happened. Jamal convinces the queen to give an inspirational speech to the rebels, but she only has sad words to share, so Jamal takes over. He steals a series of lines from many famous modern speeches and convinces the rebels that it is time to fight and take back their kingdom. A training montage then ensues, and Jamal teaches them how to fight using techniques from sports such as American football and professional wrestling, while Nolt teaches them how to use swords. When the rebels were ready, they came up with a plan to attack the castle, and Jamal gave Nolt his rubber shoes so he could walk more easily. In return, Nolt gives Jamal a set of knightly armor, which Jamal spends all night customizing. The next day, the rebels attacked the castle, but were shocked to find the gates open and no guards in sight. It turns out to be a trap, and soon Percival has his soldiers surround the rebels to begin the war. Chaos engulfed the fort as the two sides locked horns and fired bows, leaving countless squads dead. Suddenly, Percival's knights fled in fear when they saw the Black Knight coming, shooting from his helmet to intimidate the enemy. However, the knight quickly falls off his horse and is revealed to be Jamal wearing custom armor. Percival immediately attempted to kill him, but Nolt intervened to save him, and a duel between the knights ensued. While Percival and Nolt continue to duel, Jamal helps the rebels fight the soldiers using techniques they learned during training. Their teamwork was perfect, and they soon turned the fight in their favor. Percival realized his men were losing and retreated to the top of the castle wall, where he found Leo begging for help. However, Percival got fed up with him and threw him into a ditch. Meanwhile, Nolt and Jamal continue to take down soldiers, with Nolt even using silly techniques he learned from Jamal. Suddenly, Percival shot an arrow that hit Nolt in the chest, causing him to fall. Feeling defeated, Nolt gave his sword to Jamal. Jamal angrily rushes to the top of the castle wall and discovers that Percival is now holding Victoria hostage. Jamal slowly lowered his sword, but Victoria refused to let him lose and broke free of Percival's grip, slitting her throat in the process. Percival then fought Jamal and easily disarmed him, but Jamal attacked him, nearly blocking his way. Luckily, he recovers and gets his sword back to begin defeating Percival using techniques he learned from baseball and golf. Percival passes out and Jamal runs to untie Victoria, but Percival then reveals that he is acting up and tries to attack Jamal from behind. Suddenly, an arrow hits Percival and kills him. Jamal looks down and sees that it is Nolt, who is still alive and well. The rebels win and celebrate the victory in the Queen's name. Sometime later, Jamal convinced Victoria to go with him to Los Angeles, and they kissed. The Queen asks Jamal to stay, but he refuses the offer, so the Queen rewards him by naming him a Black Knight. In the middle of the ceremony, Jamal started feeling dizzy and suddenly woke up in his own time. He was surrounded by paramedics who rescued him from the lake and his colleague who informed him he had been underwater for 10 minutes. Now Jamal thinks it was all a dream. His colleague also wanted to take advantage of the accident to sue the company for money, but Jamal saw no honor in that. Instead, he gave his boss some ideas to beat his competitors. 6 weeks later, Medieval World was filled with customers thanks to Jamal's idea, and his boss was grateful. While Jamal helps the kids in the batting cage, a boy's aunt thanks him. Her name is Nicole and she looks like Victoria. Jamal and Nicole thought each other looked familiar and felt a connection, so they agreed to have lunch together one day. As Nicole and her nephew left the park, Jamal realized he never got her number, so he ran after her but ended up falling into a ditch. When Jamal woke up, he found himself in an ancient Roman arena with thousands of enthusiastic spectators, so he had to start running away from the vicious lions. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video.